knows that he's going to have to try to turn things around here tonight with this team. We expect here, Fran, a very physical effort on the part of the Bears early.
Well, I think so, Brent. And let's look at it as a 15-round fight. If you're Baylor, you can't start throwing punches in the 5th round. They've been knocked out early in the last 2 games here.
We're going to turn it over to Mike Stewart, Don Daly, and Kelly Self, and this great crowd at the Fog. We begin. Baylor controls the opening tap. Here's a young man you probably haven't seen too much of, Kenny Cherry, out of Montreal. Went by way of a JC, recruited, and he has played extremely well for Baylor, even though the team has struggled. Look at the penetrating move here, Coach.
No question. Kenny Cherry is going to have to keep this team poised on the offensive end.
Embiid comes out with Austin. Go down low, and losing the handle was O'Neal, but they get it back, and then they turn it over. Double dribble.
Baylor's gone big with Prince and O'Neal on the wings. They tried to post O'Neal with little success.
Tharp will bring it up, and he gives it off now to Wiggins. So they're gonna, I'm sure they're gonna try to get Wiggins off early here, and why not? Coming off that 1 3-point basket that Hollywood told you about. He's maneuvering, and Jefferson's right with him. Embiid double him on the catch. We see the early strategy, and a foul is going to be called on Baylor. Just what I thought. They're coming at him hard early.
No question. What they did was they tried to double team Embiid. You see O'Neal mentioning that Embiid threw an elbow. Now this has been a problem for the young big guy.
And right away, we're going to have a monitor check, I believe.
Scott Drew told us today, Brent, as you remember at the shoot-around, that we've been pushed around in the Big 12, and we're not going to be pushed around tonight. Now watch the double team. Well, that's just a basketball play to me.
Take another look. Trying to clear space.
Yeah, that's an easy call, but Embiid has been targeted, Brent, so they wanted to make sure Kelly Self took a look at it. Baylor's going to be in a zone here to start this game.
Terry Ellis loads underneath. No basket. And there was a pushing foul in underneath.
One thing I want you to watch for, Brent, Bill Self has always done a great job against this Baylor zone, attacking from the paint out. That time Ellis and Embiid hooked up. Good low post passing.
Ellis wants to get it back to Tharp, and he does. Embiid puts it down on the deck. The running hook, tapped back by Ellis. Game's first basket.
Quick move by Embiid. Ellis just lurked on the weak side for the offensive rebound.
Jefferson has been quiet in conference play, not even averaging 10 points a game for Baylor. Cherry and a pushing foul as he tried to get past Tharp with that speed. He picks up personal #1 on number 10.
Last year we remember Pierre Jackson and how dynamic he was for the Bears. This guy not quite as flamboyant, but a terrific floor general and really knows how to get his own shot as well.
Can't wait to see Ike Austin try to go to the rim on Embiid. Embiid is on Austin, who comes out for that high pick and roll play, but he doesn't get it back. Jefferson knocks down the tray.
That's not been a strength of Corey Jefferson's this year.
Wiggins saves it.
If you're Kansas, you're going to play through the middle of the zone and behind it. Oh, they have Embiid.
Here he comes against Austin. Turns baseline with that quickness, and Austin fouled him.
Bill Self's not going to set up his offensive attack to shoot jump shots right now. When you take it to the interior of the zone, it's going to open up your perimeter game. Watch that quick move right there.
And Embiid puts the Jayhawks back ahead. Cherry against Tharp. Cherry looks like he may be a step quicker than Tharp here in the early going.
He can get into the lane.
Now Austin's got Embiid outside. Austin's a very good outside shooter, and Embiid knows it. He did not give him much daylight out there.
See, if I were Scott Drew, Brent, I would play through Austin, but in the paint. I want to get Embiid in foul trouble if I'm Baylor.
So you'd have Austin set up at that block and start feeding him.
Yep, you take the other team's strength and try to attack it first. Try to get that young man Embiid with some quick foul trouble.
And instead, Austin staying out on top with that high pick and roll. Backing down on the block. Double Cherry up with a jump shot that was under enormous. But Prince with a fine offensive rebound. Ellis blocks it. Ellis with the rejection. Now Austin on a run into the lane. Embiid got a hand at Austin back. No.
I like the idea of Austin going inside, but you got to go strong. You got to go to the body. See the energy level there by Prince, the block by Ellis.
And then Prince picks up his second personal foul. So they'll take him out, and they will send in the long-range gunner, Brady Heslip, from Burlington, Ontario. And it won't be long before Brady will hoist up a three.
See, it's a 1-1-3 zone, and those forwards come way out. The baseline is open.
Embiid is blocked by Austin. Got it back. Austin stayed right with him. Terrific defense by number 21 of Baylor. Pass into Jefferson. Jefferson double. Embiid with that speed, able to drop back and then come back outside on Austin. Jefferson off a ball fake, taking it to the rim. Good drive by Jefferson.
That's what we're talking about, Brent. You must go at those shot blockers inside. You know, Austin can shoot that three whenever he wants, but if you're Scott Drew, you want Jefferson and Austin, and then later Rico Gathers pounding the paint and trying to get Kansas in foul trouble.
Gary Franklin checks in. Remember, he didn't start here tonight, and Holly Rowe, what's going on the Kansas sideline?
Well, Bill Self just came out onto the floor and was yelling at his point guard, Nadir Tharp, make them guard you, make them guard you. This was something they worked on in shoot-around today, making those guards at the top of the zone come over and guard him at the corner of the elbow so that he'd have more people to work with inside. Because he's staying too far out, he is not making those players come out and guard him, and they're just sitting back in that zone.
Jefferson nodding the score at 4.
Oh, good try.
Embiid, and again it was Austin. Had a hand on the ball, forced the turnover. Franklin brings it down, and they're attacking the rim. And that time it was Royce O'Neal from Killeen, Texas. So we will take the break here at the 15:55 mark. Baylor with a positive start, Coach.
I agree.
Welcome back to Lawrence. This Remember Martin Luther King Day, Big Monday presented by Verizon. Always good to see the veteran leadership in the huddle.
No question about it. Corey Jefferson's a 5th-year guy, and in that first huddle, just watch now, he's going to tell his teammates, we must stay aggressive. Okay, we delivered the first punch. Don't stop playing with intensity.
Franklin picks up Tharp, and Wiggins is helping him bring the ball to the attack. And Wiggins has not taken a shot yet here tonight. Handling the ball is, of course, one of the other freshmen, Selden, for time. And the Tharp loads underneath. Jamari Traylor off the bench. His first field goal, and it's 6-4.
Nice little set play by Kansas. They screened inside with the big guys. You must go inside versus the zone.
Selden all over Hessler, not giving him any daylight. Saves an errant pass that time. Gives it back. Austin, here's that outside shot he's got. You have to be aware of the big man when he steps out. One of the best big men outside shooters in the country.
He made 2 big threes late in that Oklahoma game that brought Baylor back.
Here's Wiggins' first shot. Misses with the 3-ball. Joel Embiid cleans it up and puts the Jayhawks ahead.
First 3-point shot, they went inside out. It opened up the rebound.
Franklin kicks it back. Jefferson tried to slam it back to Heslop now. Corey Jefferson assaulted. Austin puts it down on Embiid. Jefferson underneath has it stripped beautifully by Wiggins. Fine defensive play. Selden, and it's blocked. Austin's second block of the night. Cross to Heslop, got daylight. Here it comes.
Now, this is a different Baylor team than the one we saw a year ago on Big Monday. Again, it's got to be a street fight, and you've got to get the first punch in on the bully.
Traylor, bad pass into O'Neal's hands. Heslop's on the wing, got daylight again. Here he comes. Got to have a timeout. Bill Self's livid. It's 13-8. The underdog, Baylor Bears, are howling.
13-8. You've got to know where Brady Heslop is. He's a career 43% shooter from behind the arc. You can account for him in the half court, but you got to get to him in transition, and that time he got free twice.
Tarek Black now checks in for Kansas. And Baylor has hit its first 4 3-point shots. Remember, Jefferson and Ike Austin stepped out the big men, and Heslop chipped in a couple. And that's why they lead at 13-8 here in the early going. Black on the move in the paint. One and done, and it's wrapped up by Rico Gathers, a big body on the floor for the Bears off the bench. Austin drops it in low now. Gathers fade away off front of the iron. Good hustle, and they get it back for a fresh set. O'Neal on the drive. They continue to attack the paint area.
I like the strategy.
Mason on the draw. Coach will notice that. That's what he wants from his point guard.
He's a bulldog, Frank Mason Jr. Gives you excellent defense and a spark on offense.
Now he's hounding Franklin on the outside. All over Heslop. And Franklin will gun the three. He has been ice cold since conference play began. Not even hitting 30% from the field.
See Baylor staying in that zone. They play more man-to-man this year than they have in the past, but the zone is always in their back pocket.
Ellis hounded off the catch. Wiggins coming again. The three ball. Dad like it.
When you get the ball inside, you force those day-glow jerseys to play in the paint, and that opens up the perimeter game.
Catch and shoot Heslop. 3 for 3 from long range. On fire here tonight in Lawrence.
Basically watching what Brady Heslop's done his whole career at Baylor.
Mason a runner. Good looking floater by that young man from Petersburg, Virginia. He made a run at a fellow by the name of Moses Malone, his high school record, and he got really close, and that is rare company.
Not so much on the rebounder.
Gathers comes into Ellis. Yeah, I would agree with that, Fran. Really good strong points. Okay? Thank you. That's why we got you here. I mean, stuff like that. Nobody can do it better than you. Joel Embiid hasn't played basketball, but for a couple of years. And Holly Rowe, who influenced him? Who taught this young man how to move like this?
Well, you know, he's drawing so many comparisons to Hakeem Olajuwon, and there's for a good reason. The very first day he ever picked up a basketball in Cameroon, Africa 2 years ago, his coach, Madio, gave him a VHS copy of Hakeem Olajuwon's greatest moves. So he took that copy, and that's how Embiid learned how to play basketball. He copied his footwork, how he held himself, every single thing, and that's why the young man resembles Hakeem Olajuwon so much.
And when you take a look at this video, Fran, it is really interesting the way he moves. Now, he doesn't have this fadeaway and that little jump hook quite yet.
Not yet, Brent. But when you talk about young big guys, I don't care if they're 7 feet tall or 6'9", it starts from the feet up. And this young man has outstanding footwork, and he's going to get better and better. And what a great role model to model his low post game after.
Both coaches continue to use the bench, and Wainwright is now on the floor for the Baylor Bears. He's out of nearby Kansas City, and Embiid will take a seat and watch a little as Gathers comes to the free throw line. Yeah, we were here last year for a Baylor Kansas game on Big Monday, and the Bears were never in it.
That's right.
It was over about 5 minutes in the game.
Exactly. And you know, when you coach your team to come in here, you must get the first shot in. They may wind up losing Baylor, but what we've seen early is that they're going to make this a knockdown, drag out, physical game.
The stats will tell you that the Jayhawks have 10 points in the paint and Baylor none. It's sort of interesting because the Bears have been attacking the rim.
Well, they have. But they've also done a really good job of shooting threes. And remember, the last 2 games, 10 for 40 behind the arc coming into tonight.
Brandon Green out of Georgia's on the floor for the Jayhawks. He's number 14. He's handling the ball right now, and he feeds Ellis, who gets it back down in low. And on the catch, there's a foul. Block was hit down low.
Remember early in the game, Brent, I said you attack that zone from the baseline in the middle, and that time, good look by Ellis inside to Black.
So here comes the young man, Andrew Wiggins, coming into the season, of course. He was the cover boy. But right now, it's Embiid everybody's talking about. And the three is framed by Green. And Coach Self telling us last Monday night that he wanted to give Green more playing time, and now we see why.
Yeah, outstanding score. He made a huge three in that Oklahoma State win.
Cherry gets past Mason, dishes underneath, and it's turned over.
Brandon Green, young man from Georgia, a prolific scorer, guy that plays with no conscience on the offensive end. Good look right there.
I'm going to tell you something. Frank Mason is making a major impression on Bill Self.
18 minutes a game as a freshman at Kansas. What's that tell you? And remember the end of that Oklahoma State game? He was out there.
He made the defensive play, stripping the Oklahoma State shooter. It was a 2-point game at the time. So Mason earning some big minutes here tonight. Black on the catch. This is Mason. Off the dribble, had Heslop on him. Ellis jump inside, Black on a beautiful move.
Absolutely. They're playing right through the low post. When you play through the low post and have success, it'll open up the perimeter game.
It is the Jayhawk bench that has turned this game back in their favor.
Look who's guarding Heslop now. Wiggins.
Cherry gathers and one. Big body down low. Tight end.
No
physique.
question. In fact, his brother played football at Georgia Tech, defensive end. Rico Gathers is a prolific rebounder, but I love his toughness. And you need to do that. You need to stem this crowd. When Kansas gets on a run, you need to score like that.
So Tharp and Mason are going to operate together in Self's backcourt right now. He does want to chase Heslop with some speed.
You just can't let Brady Heslop get going.
Lost ball into Green's hands. Now Tharp will bring it to the attack.
When you play with 2 point guards, Brent, it's like 2 co-pilots flying a 747. One takes the pressure off the other.
2 co-pilots? Not one pilot and co-pilot? Just back out of Green. And he tosses it out of bounds. Turns it over. Baylor basketball. Bears down a point. And coming back in is Traylor. And Ellis will go out. And you made the point that Traylor and Black have played very well together the last couple games, and here they are on the floor now.
Exactly. They're like the Bruce brothers, really. They throw their weight around. They're both really good interior passers on offense, which you wouldn't necessarily expect from them.
Jefferson on the floor for Baylor, gathers muscles, turns it over, and there's the big body slowing him down in the paint, just what you said, Frank. Green missed it into Jefferson's hands, and now Cherry. See what he can do with Mason on him. Got a screen. Here's Heslop. Green with more size is all over Heslop.
See, they're not going to let Heslop loose in the half court. They'll do a good job of that. They've got to contain him in transition.
Here's Cherry off the dribble. Heslop earned his daylight that time and knocks down his 4th 3-ball of the first half.
Kenny Cherry set a screen just by the dribble handoff. Really well done by the point guard.
Chris Mullen, who's one of the NBA fellows watching this game, would appreciate that move. And getting it right back is Frank Mason. There is Chris, one of the many scouts. Now I believe he's with Sacramento, isn't he, Frank?
Yes, he is.
Boy, I had some great games with him back in the 80s. What a shooter he was. St. John's.
Mark Jackson, Walter Berry.
Louis had it going. Dribble drive, Cherry pull up, rattles out. One and done. Good rebound by Traylor.
I like the pace for Baylor.
Tharp lost it. Picked back up by Traylor, and he is fouled. Blocking foul is called, and Drew doesn't agree with this call. He doesn't need a whole lot of daylight, folks. Feeling it. feeling it real big tonight.
Reese Davis with you in the studio. Game on ESPNU, Maryland and North Carolina State. You see, it's not exactly hot shooting early, but sometimes you just need a little friendly home roll to get you going. Seth Allen hits it, and the Terps up 17-13. Creighton mopped the floor with Villanova, hit 21 threes, 96-68. Nebraska knocked off Ohio State, and Virginia beat North Carolina. Buckeyes, by the way, now lost 4 in a row.
23-22 with the Jayhawks leading Baylor here, but only by a point as Heslop takes a seat here, Fran, and knocked down 4 consecutive three-point field goals. And Holly, how did he improve his shooting?
Well, he had a very busy summer. He was playing for 2 different Canadian national teams. He went everywhere from China to Russia, Venezuela, and Puerto Rico. And he told me the thing he learned the most was playing against grown men, guys who've played in the NBA like J.J. Barea and Carlos Arroyo. He said, I learned how to create my own shot, create better space for myself, and also get my shot off a little quicker. That confidence he gained from being a good offensive threat over the summer and that 2-month stretch, he's carried over into college, and he's playing with much more confidence here.
Now, Holly, overall, they're 85%. They've hit 6 of 7 here tonight, and they trail it by 3. They could use one right here, Fran, to get even.
I still want to go inside a little bit. Work through Jefferson, work through Austin. Let those threes, Brent, come as they may.
Jarrett off the drive, and the foul was called. And I believe that's his second. It is.
It's almost deja vu. The same place he fouled Cherry in early part of the game, that drive on the baseline.
So Mason will go back to the point. Tharp will sit now. And Embiid checks back in for the Jayhawks. He's number 21.
You know, we call this Baylor backcourt, the 2 Canadians, right? This is the A team. A? Took you a while.
It did. Austin, there he is.
How about that?
Knocking it down on the outside. That deadlocks it at 25.
He had 1 3-point shot made until Saturday, and now he's got 4 more.
Just the sight of another 7-footer. That's the best. Austin, he knows the scouts are here looking at it. Steal. Cherry coming for the lead. Throw the foul. He'll shoot a pair. But what he really wanted was a 3-point chance here. He wanted to sink that left-handed layup and have one, but he missed it, so he'll shoot a pair.
This is a young man, Brent. Kenny Cherry. He went to high school, Archbishop Carroll in Washington, D.C. Very famous high school. No Division I offers after his senior year. After junior college, he was an All-American.
ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic. Season-long spotlight on games will impact the tournament. Journey continues tomorrow night. Big Ten action. Indiana facing 3rd-ranked Michigan State. That's Tuesday, 7 Eastern.
Tom Izzo is going to continue to play without Adrian Payne. Young man who's battling some foot injuries, and Tom said, we're not playing him until he's healthy.
Baylor up on the strength of Cherry's second free throw. See how long it takes Embiid to get in, moving here.
Baylor staying in that zone.
Baylor kicks it back outside. Here's Mason. Frank Kemp, long-range gunner on the floor for the Jayhawks now. It did not take Embiid long.
Took his time, turned over the right shoulder.
23 is Connor Frankamp. He's a long-range gunner. He answered a Heslop, if you will, for the Jayhawks. Jefferson with a beautiful move inside.
Few players in the country have improved more than Corey Jefferson over 5 years. When you think about who he practiced against every day, Quincy Acey, Perry Jones, Epe Udo.
Mason kept the 1 foot down. Frankamp recovers it.
Cherry's a pain in the neck out there, isn't he?
He is. Wiggins traveled. Wiggins is struggling against this zone. He's just not quite comfortable with it yet.
Without a question, Brent, because he's afraid to shoot the contested 3, And I've always said this, his ball skills in traffic need to continue to improve.
Here's Prince. Austin on the inside. Beautiful pass. Didn't stay down for Jefferson that time. They retreat quickly defensively, though. Mason's going to attack anyway. Loose ball on the floor. And they got the timeout. I think Embiid was down asking for the timeout.
That's a 30-second timeout.
Well, Super Tuesday tomorrow night on ESPN features a Big Ten SEC doubleheader first at 7. Indiana faces third-ranked Michigan State. Then at 9, Texas A&M will take on Julius Randle and 14th-ranked Kentucky. All begins tomorrow night at 7 on ESPN. How about Texas A&M?
Texas A&M has had a couple of big wins this year. They'll play a Kentucky team that's led by Julius Randle, 6'9" power forward out of Dallas, Texas. Another one of those super freshmen. Strength, size, quickness. John Calipari's team, much like this Kansas team, a very young team and a work in progress.
So there is Chad Ford's big board draft. Embiid moves in there with Wiggins, Jabari Parker, Julius Randle.
I'm going to
tell me about the young man from Australia.
You know what? He's a 6'6" guard. His dad, Cecil Exum, played on that North Carolina team that was the national champs in 1982. He's a high pick. But I'll tell you this, if Marcus Smart is the 6th pick in the draft, that team taking him, they've got a steal.
Underneath the basket, Jayhawks will inbound it deep out to Wiggins.
That's the screen inside.
Gave it up, and they thought he was going to shoot. Traylor had taken a step toward the rim to rebound, and he had no idea that Wiggins was going to throw him the ball over there in the corner.
See, Brent, Wiggins has not seen this type of zone before. You're talking about 6'9" guys playing out on the wing, so they're discouraging the jump shot.
Coach Drew continues to rotate his players. Here's Cherry. Pass slipped back on the floor for the Bears, and here comes Ike Austin. Rebound by Traylor. Mason lead pass, now Wiggins. Open floor game and one. That's the kind of game. Hold it, no shot. He's going to shoot 2 free throws. They did not give him the continuation, even though they changed that rule a little bit this year.
Yes, that's exactly right. If he begins his upward motion. But you know what I like about this? Brady Heslop, watch this. It's the, you know what it is? That's the Euro foul.
That's exactly right.
He fouled him before he can go up. This is a smart move by Heslop.
And it was a good call by the officials.
Yes.
So let's quickly point out that he didn't even get close to that new rule on that. So Wiggins at the free throw line, shooting a pair.
I think Heslop learned that after a summer of international basketball.
Yeah, Holly told us.
Yeah.
Playing with the Canadian teams.
Andrew Wiggins did not play on any of those Canadian teams because he spent the summer here in Lawrence.
You know, there's a good magazine piece, and maybe it's already been done and I haven't seen it, but I am really impressed by the growth of basketball in Canada.
Oh, without a question. How about Stauskas from Michigan, right? Melvin Edgem.
They're all over.
Yep, Kem Birch at UNLV. They are all over. It's a great point.
In Austin,
Yep.
Texas has had any number of Canadian players the last few years. Prince coming through was under great pressure. The interior defense of the Jayhawks has been very tough tonight, and not just in there. Hello. Rocking the chuck. And offensive foul. It's worth another peek. And it's plays like this that have scouts drooling.
I'm Reese Davis. Coming up in just a little while, the Mazda halftime report. Struggles would continue for both Ohio State and North Carolina, one far greater than the other, at least in terms of performance. And wait until you see what Creighton did. Elton John will be pleased with the pun that we put up in the Mazda halftime report. Creighton shot the lights out against Villanova.
Well, there's a who's who of NBA scouts over there, Frank.
Yeah, we talked about Chris Mullin to his left. Mitch Richmond, who in 1988, they almost knocked off the Kansas State Wildcats, knocked off Danny and the Miracles in the Elite Eight. Team coached by Lon Kruger. Whatever happened to him?
We'll see him next Monday. We've got Bedlam down in Norman. OU playing very well for Coach Kruger, who's one of the best in the country. Mason's three off iron. Battle for the rebound. Away comes Franklin and lost the dribble.
Now watch this run out by Embiid. Richmond's like, big deal. I played in here. I know what it's like in here.
Either that or he was saying, are you kidding me? Wiggins off the iron. For the game now, Baylor shooting only 40% from the floor, Fran, and Kansas 68.8%. So there's a huge difference.
So Baylor staying in this game how, Brent?
With the threes.
Exactly. 7 of 9.
Heslop wanted to pull the trigger on number 10. Gathers travel. Jayhawks are up by 3. We've got 2:40 remaining here in the first half.
Okay, if you gave Scott Drew truth serum before the game and you said you're going to be down 31-28, would you take it? I think he'd say yes. His team is battled.
But he better worry about the next 2:30.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But they have played aggressively.
Yes, they have. Embiid missed on that shot. Wiggins puts it down, loses the handle, turns it over. Baylor basketball. So as we told you earlier tonight, the Jayhawks were building up a big advantage in the paint. There are the figures right now. The Jayhawk interior defense, Fran, has been outstanding for Self.
When you look at Bill Self's front court, it's not just Embiid and Ellis. Come off the bench with Black and Traylor. They don't lose much defensively. The Bulldog is going to guard Heslop right now. Frank Mason Jr.
I like that nickname you've given him. He is a Bulldog. Cherry got Selden in the air, and then Selden came back on him, and here's Austin coming up short, but a putback by Royce O'Neal from Killeen, Texas. His first field goal of the night makes it a one-point game.
Yep, O'Neal, a transfer from Denver, had a really good career going. Transferred, was eligible immediately.
Traylor's doubled down in the corner. Embiid is fouled.
Scott Drew told us today that Baylor has the least free throw attempts in the Big 12 conference so far. And he said, I promise you we're going to play physically tonight. They have done that. That was a hard foul.
I think they've shot 7 free throws tonight, but you know just what plagued them in the Oklahoma game. They only hit 3 of them, Baylor. And remember, they were 50% against the Sooners with that 2-point loss.
Absolutely. That was a game that they led by 6 at the half and let that game get away.
9 for Joel Embiid. From Cameroon, grew up a volleyball and a soccer player. And Olajuwon was a tremendous soccer player. As many of you remember, coming out of Nigeria, had great footwork. Heslop with a runner. And Jefferson with an offensive rebound and a fine putback.
You don't see Brady Heslop getting inside the lane that many times, but he drew enough traffic that Jefferson was able to clean up the miss.
Embiid back outside. Selden knocks down the 3 ball.
He's been quiet tonight, Brent, but he's been on a real roll in the Big 12 behind the arc.
They build a 4. Jefferson will try to cut into it, and he does with a 3 ball. Makes it a 1. Final half minute here of the opening half. 1-point game. Jayhawks climb to number 8 in the Associated Press Bowl. Embiid coming through. Let me check that. That was Wiggins on that other side. Embiid was on the weak side that time, and Wiggins will come to the free throw line. 18 seconds remaining.
Tell you what Scott Drew did right there. He wasn't going to let Kansas hold the ball. They were really aggressive in their trap, but it gave Wiggins a chance to score a couple at the free throw line.
Six points for Wiggins here tonight, so he's doubled his Saturday output already. He got to the free throw line. This will be his 4th free throw. Perfect at the line. Until that one into Cherry's hands. Down 2.
Watch Cherry. He gets into the lane with relative ease.
Austin with a strong pick out on top. Cherry drives. Cleaned up by Wiggins at the buzzer. Jayhawks lead it by 2. But the Canadian marksman kept Baylor in it, Frank.
No question. Brady Heslop's been in here before. Couple years. Hadn't gone well for him. Tonight he's on fire.
Let's go to Holly.
Well, with Coach Drew here, and Coach Drew, this is a different result than you've had in times here in the past. What's different about the mindset of your team tonight?
Defensively, we weren't very good the last in the middle of that game there. And the beginning, we started out really well. I think we're rebounding well. As far as the mindset goes, we're tired of losing. It's no fun.
What are your guys doing so effectively to get Brady Heslop some good open looks?
Brady's making some tough shots, so give him the credit. I think we're setting some decent screens. At the end of the day, you're going to have to make shots to win here because they do a good job defensively.
Thank you, Coach.
Holly, thank you. And again, Kansas leads it 37-35 here halftime in the Allen Fieldhouse. Now let's go to Reese Davis in the studio. The Mazda halftime report. Welcome back to Big Monday, presented by Verizon. On a day when we remember the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And at the half, the Kansas Jayhawks lead the Baylor Bears, but only by 2. And what a halftime show by the Olate Dogs. Remember season 7, America's Got Talent? They won it, and why not? Check this out. Yeah, come on. That's it. Hop on. We'll give you a lift. And let's exit for the next town. If you need a little halftime entertainment, go get those Olate Dogs out here. So, friend, Baylor playing well, digging in. Now we'll find out if they got any staying power against the Jayhawks.
I think they played like junkyard dogs in the first half. They delivered a blow early. They've stayed in this game with great shooting. Kansas has done a good job in the paint. But if you're Scott Drew, you got to like where you are, particularly the way they have played in the past in here.
Exactly. When we take a look at some of the numbers here from the first half, and of course Brady Heslop, 4 of 4 shooting from long range. Even Big Ike Austin stepped out, so they kind of stayed alive from outside the arc. And Holly, what did Coach Self have to say?
Well, he was upset about that three-point shooting. 80% from the three-point range for Baylor in the first half, and he said, you know what? We weren't even helping off their bigs, and they still hit shots right over the top of us. He said, we will never leave Heslop. People cannot help off of Heslop. We just have to get it turned up. We weren't turned up at all. Nadir Tharp back in the game now after those 2 fouls in the first half caused him to play only 9 minutes. He expects more from him.
Strong offensive rebound by Wiggins off that missed 3. That's one of his best moves at night, friend.
I agree. If you're going to play defense for 35 seconds, you better get a body on those white jerseys.
start trying to get Wiggins going. Ellis underneath, wraparound's good.
Well, they've been attacking that baseline all night. The way that zone is deployed, the baseline and short corners open.
Baylor shot 42% overall from the field and 80 from three-point land, and Baylor turns it over on its first possession of the second half.
You got to be as tough for the first 3 minutes of the second half as you were with those first 3 minutes in the first half.
Turning it over, it'll go to Baylor.
And if you talk about this as a prize fight, 15 rounds, you know, you're right now, it's an even fight midway through the fight, but you got to keep the pressure on.
You know, with Villanova losing tonight, one of the teams is taking dead aim at a #1 seed in March Madness, Wichita State. And it's interesting, Fran, that many of their players, you said, are here watching this game tonight.
Absolutely. I ran into Ron Baker in the hallway, Clay Anthony Early, some of those guys watching. Of course, Nick Wiggins, Mitch's son, and Andrew's older brother, key guy on that Shocker team.
Now, Baker was in the white. When you looked at that of the Wichita State team, ranked #5 right behind Villanova, and of course Villanova was blown out.
Wow.
They told you at halftime.
What was it, 23 threes, I think, great to hit.
Stripped from Ellis, but here's Wiggins being very active, and it was rejected underneath.
Just hasn't proven yet to be a great finisher on those drives.
Pull-up is not there. Ellis with good rebounding position for the Jayhawks, who lead it by 4.
I think once this ball moves, Brent, you're going to see Tharp get more aggressive at the top of that zone.
Embiid triple team. Prince knocks it out, and it was off Embiid, and it goes over to the Bears. The one thing that's plagued Self's team here a little bit, been too many turnovers.
No question about it. 9 in the first half.
11 now for the game.
Yeah. Baylor had 10 points off turnovers in the first half.
Austin steps out. Just that 3, long rebound. Ellis.
You don't see this from Kansas, Brent, but right now Ellis and his teammates are trying to hit the 5-point play. Got the crowd quiet, don't they?
Yes, they do. Baylor's never won in the Allen Fieldhouse. Embiid with a pretty easy defensive rebound. Embiid has to dribble away, and Selden is fouled. He'll shoot a pair of free throws.
Good execution right there. Even in the zone, they've been doubling Embiid, and that leaves somebody free around the rim. Take a look now. He's going to catch that ball, and the double's going to come. And watch Selden cut right down the lane to the heart of that zone. Well done.
At the free throw line, the Jayhawks have shot 11 free throws, and Baylor 7 in the first half. They missed 4 of the 7, and this is the biggest lead for Kansas tonight. We've had 5 tie games, and the lead changed hands 12 times in the first half. Brady Heslop checks in, and they'll be looking for him.
I think Wayne Selden is going to be in his back pocket. If you're Selden now, don't help off of him. Let your teammates play 4-on-4.
Heslop came outside, around the screen, off the dribble, and Selden riding him on the side, fouled him.
This is what Brady Heslop told Holly about his summer with the Canadian national team. He learned to put it on the floor a little bit more.
Jayhawks have done an excellent job on Cherry tonight. Heslop misfires. Big, strong block, goaltending. Embiid called for goaltending on that shot by Royce O'Neal.
The reason O'Neal got that opportunity was because Heslop was left open again. one of those games, if you're Scott Drew, you want your team to get to the 16-minute mark, still in it, and get it down to 12 and stay in the game as long as possible.
Thorpe, dribble, kick outside. Ellis steps back, fires a three, brings out, tap Wiggins, stayed with it. Strong rebounding by the freshman.
Quick second jump that time by Andrew Wiggins.
Ike to the paint and one. That was a powerful move by the sophomore from Arlington, Texas. And of course, it was good news for Scott Drew and the Baylor Bears that you see Mom and Dad watching when Ike announced that he was coming back to Baylor this year. Kansas leading Baylor by 4, and I certainly hope over the weekend you had a chance to see a Holly Rose feature on Ike Austin and how he overcame a serious eye injury as a youngster. And Mom and Dad are here tonight, so let's go to Holly now.
Well, Mom, Lisa, and Ben, they live here in Overland Park, Kansas now. And Lisa, what has the reaction been like now that people know what your son has been trying to overcome?
I have to say it's been so positive and overwhelming, all the support that we've been getting. It's so inspiring to see that his story can inspire others.
What was a nice tweet that he got from
Andrew Wiggins is such a nice kid. He actually tweeted Isaiah and said, "Man, I just saw your story and it inspires me, and I give you much love, and I'm a #1 fan."
As a mom, you've seen him go through all this difficulty. What is it like that he can now be open about this and this burden is kind of off his shoulders to keep it private?
It's such a relief to have this burden off our shoulders, because we kept this a secret since he's been in 8th grade. So it's been such a relief, and to know that he can still perform and achieve is just it's so inspiring.
What's it like for you to see him here playing well against Kansas?
Oh man, it's a dream come true. I love it. I've always loved to watch him play, and this has just been so great, and our whole family being able to be here.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Holly.
Thanks, Holly. And of course, he called bank shot from Mom while you were interviewing and knocked it down from the perimeter. And coming back at the other side, Thorpe whistles one in on the three, and it's 46-42 Jayhawks.
And Thorpe's been quiet in terms of his own offense, but he's got a good sense of the moment lately when Kansas needs his scoring. I throw it into him again. We've got to go in at him.
Cherry off the dribble, pull up a three, and knocks down a good-looking jumper. The shot clock running down. That's a clutch shot by Cherry.
He's made that shot all year, Brent. He's really best in that 14 to 18-foot range.
Gathers is leaning on Embiid down low now. And Thorpe tosses it off to the side. It was deflected out of bounds. And take another look at this, Jay.
And watch him separate away from the shot blocker.
Mom gets into it.
Yeah.
Ball out of bounds. 14 on the shot here, Fran. 14 for the game. 2-point game.
I like the way Baylor's played.
Missing on the three, and clearing out was O'Neal for that rebound. Here's Heslop. And Wiggins did a good job of pursuing that corner. And because of his length, Heslop was not willing to pull the trigger on it.
Look who's guarding him now. Wiggins is going to stay on him.
So Cherry will gun the three. Long rebound, and Embiid is fouled. Yeah, that's interesting when you put the size over on Heslop, as you pointed out here, Fran. They're going to have to get some screens, and he's going to have to cut without the ball and come out the other end.
I totally agree. Bill Self's told us a couple times this year how good a defender Andrew Wiggins can be at 6'8".
O'Neal will take a seat with 3 fouls, and Franklin checks back in, and Jefferson is now checking in for Coach Drew. 2-point game, 13-32.
This is not the same Baylor team that lost at Texas Tech last week and at home Saturday to Oklahoma.
Blocked underneath. Selden comes back again. No. Jefferson. And it's out of his hands, off him. Kansas basketball.
Wayne Selden was just creating a nuisance on that rebound. And if you're Corey Jefferson, you got to be strong with that ball.
Fresh shot clock.
See how far out Jefferson and Prince play on that zone. That's why the baseline is open.
Ellis, it's a 2.
When you attack a zone like this, the defense is not going to turn their head, so Ellis can get free on the baseline.
Stolen by Ellis. Back-to-back fine plays by 34. House erupts.
Watch Barry Ellis run right through that passing lane. Sloppy play, and then Jefferson, you got to either let him go or you got to challenge at the rim. But the sophomore from Wichita has got a knack for scoring.
You can see that Kansas is getting to the free throw line. Tomorrow night, ESPN, Big Ten, SEC. Indiana at 7 will take on Michigan State. Then at 9, Texas A&M will take on Kentucky. And speaking of the Hoosiers, a former quarterback who now lives in Kansas City is with us here tonight. There is Trent Green, who spent 11 years in the NFL, played with Dick Vermeil, with the Rams, and later with the Chiefs. And some of you might remember that when Trent Green went down in a preseason, Kurt Warner became the Rams quarterback, and they went on to win a Super Bowl. Trent and Dick Vermeil still talk frequently on the telephone. Trent Green, just one of the nice guys in the NFL.
And you were so fortunate to spend all those years with Dick Vermeil.
Learned a lot.
Oh, yeah. A lot about coaching and life.
Yeah, exactly. Heslip catch. And again, Wiggins. Wiggins doing a good job here, friend.
Yes, he is.
He had to dribble to get an open look, and it's off the iron. And Wiggins was right there.
No question. Bill Self tried the smaller players, Selden and Tharp. Remember Mason early in the first half? Wiggins has one job right now. Make him shoot over the top.
Wiggins right there on Heslip.
Those two guys may be teammates someday on the Canadian national team.
Exactly. Jefferson, bad pass. Embiid right in the passing lane. Exactly, Frank. Waited too late. Deflected and stolen by Jefferson. Strong defensive play.
Yep, that's the length of that zone on the wings.
O'Neal alone, and it won't fall, and that's a big miss at 51-44. Shot down, Selden goes for it over the top. Mercy, what a play. What a save by Wayne Selden, and a hoop at the other end. Rock and roll time. That's a candidate for the top 10. Look, that's a candidate for number 1. Holy Toledo.
There's history there, Brent. 2 weeks ago at Oklahoma, Bill Self showed his team an Aaron Craft hustle play just like that. Selden made a play in that game. He hasn't forgotten it, and he's carrying that toughness over. Watch this play. A coach's dream.
And oh, by the way, an assist.
For good measure.
I mean, that's a beautiful pass to him underneath.
A no look. A no look. Oh, man.
Watch this throw. Embiid finished this with a little bit of a jump hook. What do you think, Coach? What do you think? You're right. You said a favorite picture in his office. I heard you on a broadcast.
Yes.
Where you were working at diving on the floor.
It was Darrell Arthur and Darnell Jackson and Tyler Hansbrough. Bill Self's favorite picture. 3 guys vertical in the air after a loose ball. There may be a picture of that one in his office soon.
Cherry cut off. Wiggins right there on Heslop. 5 on the shot. Jefferson missing. Austin back with the rebound.
New clock. That was a wasted possession, except they got the ball back. You're Baylor right now. You got to be crisper.
Game slipping away from the Bears. Austin is hit by Ellis, and a foul is going to be called. So we'll take that media break right now at 10:21. 53-44. Jayhawks with the lead. Time now for Did You See That? Brought to you by Verizon, and you know where we're headed. Wayne Selden, Embiid at the other end. Field goal, Kansas. Folks, it was too good to be true. Yes, indeed. We're going to show you another angle. And into the crowd, Self happy, everybody happy, but look what was missed on the floor.
Something not feeling right.
Take a look at that right foot. Right there. But it was still fun. And he's okay. He got whacked in the face pretty good by Selden.
I think Bill Self owes that guy popcorn.
Exactly. Exactly. Great effort on Selden's part. Embiid down with a rebound. And by the way, because the basket counted, that was Embiid's first basket of this half.
I think that zone's done a good job of bottling up because they've double teamed him throughout that zone.
Ellis has gotten very active here in the second half, helping to take over.
You know, he's so understated, Brent. Doesn't change his expression. If you're Baylor, you need a couple scores, couple stops.
Not to be overlooked in the offensive we talked about is how well the Jayhawks have played defense overall here. I know they had trouble, and Ike Austin gets it down against the rim that time. They've had trouble defending the threes in the first half. But other than that, it's been a superb defensive effort, and they've shut Heslop down here in the second half.
No, I would agree. They haven't gotten the looks they got in the first half, and as well as Baylor's played, they only have 46 points right now.
14th foul on Baylor. Wayne Selden shooting 2.
Embiid is over there lobbying Self. He's going to take a seat here for a while. They'll bring in the Bruise brothers, as you call them. They'll get in there with Black, and then we'll see Traylor. Nice to have a bench like this when you approach March, my friend.
Oh, I agree, especially the front court. The emergence of Mason Jr. as he reports in. And I think the schedule really, you know, Bill Self said, we went through a gauntlet of tough games in November and December. We're just starting to see Kansas grow up. This is a team that lost 5 starters from a year ago.
The RPI's got the Jayhawks #1. 7 wins over top 50 teams. They haven't lost to a team outside the top 20 this year. Remember, it was Villanova neutral, at Colorado, at Florida, and here against San Diego State. All pretty highly regarded teams. And into Wiggins' hands. Here comes Tharp. Back to Mason, the 2 guards. At the 9-minute mark with an 11-point lead. Now remember, they moved out by about 11 points on Oklahoma State Saturday and let the Cowboys come rushing back into the game. So that's going to be a point of emphasis right now for the Jayhawks. Let's finish. Tharp misses on the 3, and here they come. Heslop.
If you remember in that game, Oklahoma State, the recipient of some dumb plays.
Austin wasn't anticipating that pass. Goes and gets it back. Little friendly.
That was a love tap.
Yeah,
that was a love tap.
Yeah. Tariq Black, the transfer from Memphis, number 25.
Boy, speaking of love taps, I thought Michael Crabtree was going to hit pay dirt on that final play yesterday.
Yeah, but the tap of the day was Richard Sherman.
Yeah, he can really cover, Brent. Talk about
Do
cover
do
corners.
they have their cover boy? Richard Sherman versus Peyton Manning. Okay. The mouth versus the Hall of Famer. I mean, come on. Can you see it? Come on. Tharp rattles it in. The 3 ball. And Self was happy that he pulled the trigger on that shot.
He's been the floor general today versus the zone. Hasn't forced much, but remember, he's averaging almost 17 in conference play.
Here comes Heslop driving in and drew the foul as he attacked the rim. It's interesting because Holly wrote toward that story in the first half, and he does put it down a little bit more. So we'll take a break. 7:55. It's getting away from Baylor. Jayhawks up 60-46.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Verizon. Verizon's 4G LTE network is 3 times larger than any other 4G LTE network. And in part by 5-Hour Energy. Focus is the feeling of clarity and alertness. It's the feeling you get from 5-Hour Energy.
Reese Davis with you in the studio on ESPNU. Maryland and North Carolina State, and the Wolfpack's Ralston Turner, the former Muscle Shoals Trojan star and LSU Tiger, knocks down the jumper, giving NC State 57-53 lead, just over 3 minutes to play on the U. Some other scores from earlier in the night: Ohio State's lost 4 in a row, and North Carolina falls to 1-4 in ACC play.
And here, of course, the Jayhawks leading 60-46 on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And Holly Rose, speaking of the late Dr. King, Tariq Black transferred from Memphis, and there's a connection with his family. Tell us about it.
That's right. Well, Tariq grew up in Memphis, where his mother, Judith, worked at the National Civil Rights Museum that's actually located in the Lorraine Motel where Martin Luther King was assassinated. That motel has been turned into this museum, and so Tariq said, I was around there most of my life as a little kid. I saw the room where things happened. I've been to the cars that he used. He said, you know, he was such a part of our lives growing up, and what he wants young people out there to know who may not remember the legacy of Martin Luther King is that he changed America. He changed laws. He changed equalities, rights for all of society, not just for African Americans, but for everyone, immigrants and people of any class. And he thinks that it's important that we remember that. He's actually working on his master's degree here at Kansas in African American studies. He said, I've written many papers on Dr. King, and it's important that his legacy continues.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Holly. 7:43 to go. Tariq Black still on the floor. He's number 25, folks. If you remember, there's the big fellow, and his friend calls him one of the Blues Brothers.
Anytime you take your team to Memphis, as I did, took my Manhattan team to the NCAA tournament, that's a stop you must take your players at Civil Rights Museum and the great history there.
I'll give you one when we get to the Big 12 tournament, Kansas City. The Negro Baseball Hall of Fame is a don't miss.
Remember we did it last year?
Oh, was that great?
Unbelievable.
Everybody should go.
Yep.
It's just a piece of American history when you go through there and see some of the great players who never got an opportunity to play Major League Baseball, and then some who did, who came out of those leagues. Would you have loved to have seen Josh Gibson at Wrigley Field for a while?
Satchel Paige in his prime.
Well, here we go. Baylor trailing 61-47. misfires. Gathers been pretty active. Here comes Hessel again. They have really shut down the three, folks, in this half. They are now 1 of 7. 1 of 7 is Baylor. And they're contacting underneath, and Wiggins is okay. Jumps back up.
I think Hessel, yeah, he got called for the charge.
After going 8 of 10 in the first half, Fran, that defense has shut down that 3-ball, 1 of 7 now.
You think that Bill Self made that a point of emphasis in that locker room?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yep. One byproduct of this game tonight is how much Kansas has got a chance to work against that zone for 33 minutes, and now Baylor goes man-to-man.
Looks like an offensive foul is going to be called here.
I think they're taking that Bruise Brothers thing to the extreme.
Traylor picks it up.
That's his first personal foul, the 15th foul.
I think between the 28 days away from Allen Fieldhouse, the toughest schedule in the country, and getting all these young players experience, we're watching Kansas really grow up.
Gathers will come to the free throw line and shoot a pair.
I'll tell you, Gathers gives Scott Drew great energy. He's the best offensive rebounder in the country by percentage. Every 4 possessions down the floor, Rico Gathers gets an offensive rebound.
Well, we've got a doubleheader, NBA action Wednesday night. And, one of the greats of the Big 12, Kevin Durant, who played at Texas. He leads the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road against Tony Parker and the Spurs. Then at 10:30, Paul George and the Pacers face the Suns. Fran, let me ask you about Paul George. Did people know that he was going to be this good in the basketball community?
No, he played at Fresno State, and I heard a great story yesterday. Lynn Merrick from Nike told me that when the Pacers lost Game 7, Paul George went up to him and said, "I wasn't ready for a 7-game series with the Miami Heat. I will be next year." He's carried that over, hasn't he?
Yeah, he sure has. Wiggins outside and into Austin's hands. Holly telling us during that break that the family calls Austin Zeke and not Ike. So Zeke, good 3-ball, lad.
He's had a terrific night. He only made 1 3 coming into Saturday's game, and he's been on fire behind the arc.
Well, I'm impressed with how hard Baylor has played here tonight. I mean, it's uphill. There's still plenty of time. Believe me, with the 10-point lead. They got a lot of athletic talent on that team. 6 points to go. Came hard, and listen. I know you've seen more teams in person than I have. I haven't seen anybody in Kansas class.
Well, you know, there's certainly teams like Syracuse, Arizona, maybe Wichita State in that mix. But I think when you talk about teams with more potential to get better, Kansas is one of those teams, Brent, that's not going to surprise anybody if they're playing in Dallas in early April.
Well, let's quickly take a look at tonight's Wendy's Wooden Watch, brought to you by Wendy's, because we've got five players in this game on that list.
I got a feeling that after the way Creighton played tonight and they hit 23 threes, that Doug McDermott, who may be the front runner for the Wooden Award, I got a feeling he hit a few of those. I'm guessing.
We're just guessing.
We'll get the box score afterwards.
Yeah, we will. So this week they'll cut that list down to 25 and get up on the World Wide Web, and I'm sure a lot of sites will have that. Wiggins is fouled on the attack. You know, it's interesting, but he's been more aggressive here in the second half.
You know, that's his issue. It's not an issue of talent or athleticism. He's such a good kid that I think sometimes he defers. We saw him very aggressive up in Ames last week when he was attacking the rim and grabbing 19 rebounds, but it's not his personality. Doesn't mean he's not going to be a tremendous player in time. You know, he should be a senior in high school.
Is that right?
Last October, he was ahead academically, and he felt like another year of high school would be a waste, so he reclassified into a senior year last year, Brent. So we're talking about a very young guy here with enormous potential to be great someday.
Mom and Dad, both good athletes themselves. Watching here, did Holly say this is the first time that they've come to Lawrence?
Yes, to see him in a game. Now, Mitch was a good athlete. Marita, she was a great athlete. Mom was a two-time silver medalist. Mitch was a pretty good player.
Yeah, he was. Over the top, and Austin couldn't quite finish it. Wouldn't fall. And another touchdown. Yeah, he's got a linebacker's face.
Oh, yeah. Look at his face. Look at that face he's making right now. You know what, Brent? If Baylor played this way over the last week, I saw the Oklahoma game. They would not have lost at home. And give Texas Tech and Tubby Smith credit. They punched Baylor in the mouth last week.
Yeah, Tubby will get the job done.
Yeah, he'll get the job done. But this is a different Baylor team mentally than a team that lost those two.
Won't fall now. Turn it over. Baylor's still breathing when they do things like that.
And what you said about the Oklahoma State game.
That's right.
Kansas
Stop making mistakes.
Yeah.
And one thing Baylor's got to do is they've got to shoot the ball a little bit better. I mean, overall, even though they stayed alive with the 3 for the game, they've shooting about 40%. Austin traveling.
Yep. That's very common. If you're a young guy watching at home, you just can't go side to side when you fake. It's got to be, you know, Coach Knight always talking about the shot fake.
Shot fake.
You're better off just shot faking, sweeping it through and going. But when you try to go side to side, even if it's not a travel, it looks like a travel.
You know, you mentioned Oklahoma. We'll see them. Looking forward to Bedlam in Norman next week. Oklahoma State will be in there. That'll be a fun scene.
No question.
Monday.
Yep. Both teams playing very well. Ron Kruger's got a very young, talented team.
Well, there's 6 ranked teams, and according to the RPI, which this Kansas #1, this is the top conference. Obviously, you get an argument with the Big Ten.
But you know what, Brent? The way Ohio State's played, losing their last 4, I think now you can start to talk about the Big 12. You know, clearly #1. We know Wisconsin struggled this week.
However, let me offset that by saying Baylor would have lost 4 or 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If they can't rally
win tonight.
here.
No, you're right about that.
Yeah.
And by the way, the rankings don't mean anything. You know, we got 6 teams now from the Big 12. That's great. You know, Texas getting some votes, but to me, the rankings are not as indicative as KenPom.com, Sagarin, the computer guys.
Here comes Cherry. Gathers on the drive, tap, going after it again with a ferocity.
How about Gathers? I love this kid's effort now. He shoots a lot of balls around the rim without his eyes on the rim, which is why he misses. But the effort level is phenomenal. You know this young man committed to St. John's and Steve Lavin?
Is that right?
He did. Changed his mind. His high school coach coached Baylor's first McDonald's All-American, Tweety Carter. Boy, does he look like a defensive end.
I'll tell you. The Baylor football team was pretty good this year.
I know. I think Scott Drew keeps. I don't think he lets. I don't think Art Briles. You think he knows that Rico Gathers is on the team?
He's not permitted to go.
Not allowed in the football facility. No, don't give him any ideas.
Well, here comes the 5-minute crunch time. Baylor's last chance to make a run, and look who's on the floor diving for the loose ball. Gathers. Possession arrow favors the Jayhawks, but how about that effort by Gathers? Is that great?
Tremendous. He probably sweats more than anybody on that Baylor team, and I had the misfortune of being in a Baylor huddle at practice this year, and I was next to him. So the beautiful shirt I wore after 10 minutes of Scott Drew talking after practice felt like I'd been in a sauna.
You know, it's interesting how Embiid a little bit quieter in the second half as he's watching over there now, and they did get Gathers to lean on him a little bit. They put a big body. Now, he's not as tall, obviously, as Embiid, but they just let him muscle him a little bit.
I agree, and I think the length in the first half of Boston bothered him a little.
And Wiggins gets to the free throw line.
Marcus Smart and Oklahoma State came in here Saturday, trailed 17. You and I both watched the game and willed them back into it.
Mopping up a spot underneath the basket. Now we're ready to go. He'll shoot a couple.
That's where Gathers was sweating.
Probably. Reminded the Thursday night showcase presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. SEC Pac-12 doubleheader. 6th ranked Florida will take on Alabama. Then at 9, you mentioned number 1 ranked Arizona against Colorado. Colorado suffered a major injury.
Yes, they did. Spencer Dinwiddie out for the year, knee surgery. They were having a terrific season. And Arizona Sean Miller's done a fabulous job.
Cherry steps back and pulling it down to O'Neal.
You're exactly right, Brent. Baylor has not been able to get going offensively, but the effort there has been excellent.
And reading in was Wiggins. He commits the personal.
Baptists are not getting pushed around tonight.
Crowd saw that elbow come flying.
They saw the elbow, but
they
they saw the tug of the jersey, which is not necessarily reviewable in terms of calling a foul on Wiggins. The foul had already been called.
You know, the NFL, speaking of review, they'll change that one play. Well, they're taking a look at this over there on the side. They'll see this. And remember when the fumble was recovered by Bowman, who was injured on the play?
Yep.
And the ruling on the field was that he fumbled, and then that was recovered by Seattle, and they said they couldn't review it. They'll change that rule.
Yes, you told me that.
Yeah, there's no question.
And the young man, I think, is going to have surgery, ACL surgery.
He was a great player for Joe Paterno.
Yep.
And has become one of the better linebackers in the NFL. You're always sorry to see that. I mean, we've all seen it because of the play itself. It was painful to watch. So next Monday night, I'll get the Priscilla pick.
Oh, well, we got a couple. Yeah, oh yeah, no question. Yeah, well, I got to talk to my buddies.
Didn't we watch it?
I
think I'm going to go to Vegas tomorrow and ask my
buddies. You talk to your buddies?
My people will talk to your people next Monday night.
But we'll be in Stillwater.
That's right.
We'll be Super Bowl Sunday. We will be in Stillwater.
I'd let it get away again. They have given Baylor a lot of opportunities here, and Baylor just hasn't been able to make field goals.
This is one of those games, if you're Bill Self, you feel good about the scoreboard, but you're going to be upset about the execution in the last 10 minutes of this game.
Here's Gathers trying to get a handle. Jefferson comes up. Here's Hessup, guns the three. Yes. Boy, he doesn't need much daylight, I'm telling you.
No question. And I'll tell you, Rico Gathers, Brent, kept that ball alive. Now, this is a couple stops right here. If you're Baylor, maybe a quick three.
And Wiggins says no way. He's had a fine second half defensively, offensively, and working on the glass. O'Neal loses it.
Too many empty possessions. You got to give it. That Black down?
Yes, it is. Black injured down around it's in the lower leg there, right. Went down. You noticed? Did you see him come down?
No, I didn't, Brent.
Let's take a look.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's shades of Bowman.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
And you hate to see that. We've chronicled how hard Rico Gathers has played today.
So we'll take a break. Obvious.
Reese Davis with you. It was the performance of the night. Creighton beat Villanova behind a splendid shooting performance from Ethan Wragge, who wound up with 9 3-pointers, 7 of them coming in the early stages of the first half when the Blue Jays just destroyed the Wildcats. 96-68 the final. Wragge finished with 27. First victory over a top 5 team for Creighton since 1970.
And here with 3:13 to go, the Jayhawks with the lead, and we want to report right away that Black was able to get up and walk, putting weight on that leg. So we will show you, and he has gone to the locker room here for the Jayhawks, but hopefully it wound up being much better, and Heslip knocks down another one.
Here they come again. A great effort by Gathers at the other end. That rejection.
Staying alive with the long ball, trailing by 9.
Baylor's got a little bit of pressure defense in their arsenal.
Self running some seconds off the clock, winding the shot clock down. Ellis out for the high screen, and on the attack is Mason, who puts it away. Beautiful driving layup by Frank Mason, the Bulldog, as Fran is named.
He plays fearlessly. He's the guy, he's that dog that bites your trousers and won't let go.
Lead is 11. Jefferson cuts it now to 9.
I think Scott Drew's going to set up that pressure we talked about.
2 minutes to go. Well, there are three unbeatens that you're probably aware of: Arizona, Syracuse, and Wichita State. And many of the players are here. Let's go to Holly Rowe with the Wichita State team.
Well, I've got 2 of the top 3 scorers for Wichita State right here. Ron Baker, you're shooting over 40% from 3-point range. What do you think of this 3-point shooting we're seeing from Kansas so far, or from Baylor?
Heslip's got a nice looking shot. We saw him earlier this year playing, so we know what he's capable of. He's playing well. Props to him.
Cle Anthony, early, you're averaging about 15 points a game. What is it that's helping you guys stay undefeated in some big games against big teams?
Just being able to play with these great guys, and they keep it going, and we're trying to keep it going all together.
And Nick Wiggins, you're here watching your brother play. What's it like to see him play, and what do you think of him so far?
Very impressed, the way he's attacking, just staying in attack mode, staying aggressive. Just happy to be here, man. I'm proud of him.
You guys are actually ranked 5th in the poll today. You're actually ranked ahead of Kansas. What do you see out here as a scattering report? Do you think you guys are ranked ahead of them, rightly so?
Basketball's basketball at the end of the day.
They look like a young team.
They're a pretty good team.
They're getting better every game. I enjoy watching.
At the end of the day, we're all representing Kansas somehow, so that's the way I look at it.
All right. Very politically correct how you guys handled that. Thank you very much.
Well done, Brent.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Very, very well. Thanks, guys. We appreciate that.
And how about kudos to Greg Marshall and the great job he's done at Wichita State, the Shockers.
Amazing story,
Yep.
huh? Right in Bill Self's backyard. And able to put together an outstanding team. Now, seeing that Wiggins' brother is over there, that had to have helped Self in the recruiting of Andrew.
I think it was one of those things that was a tipping point. I'll tell you a couple other things. He got very comfortable playing with Wayne Selden and Joel Embiid in those postseason All-Star games. And they're both fairly low-key guys like Andrew is, and I think that had a lot to do with it as well, and of course the great tradition here.
It's an 11-point Jayhawk lead right now. Heslip.
How about Mason? He's all over him.
Cherry off the dribble, feeds inside, and Jefferson flushes.
Scott Drew wanted a timeout, didn't get it, wasn't sure. Don Daly wasn't sure whether he wanted one.
Back to 9.
I think you got to start fouling here, Brent.
The Jayhawks trying to kill some time here at the 1:16 mark.
They're not going to foul on this possession, at least not intentionally.
Winding the clock down toward 5 on the shot. Mason drives, Ellis. What a beautiful dish with Mason on the penetration, and it's back to 11.
That's those 2 point guards out there for Bill Self.
Jefferson's on the free throw line. With an 11-point difference right now.
How about this speed and quickness by the freshman from Petersburg, Virginia? Draws the defense, and then Perry Ellis.
And Black, after going to the locker room following that injury, back on the bench, and another good sign that the injury is not serious. A reminder, of course, coming up next, Sports Center. Villanova stunned. You're going to see the highlights of that. And if you missed that Zeke Austin feature on his eyesight, triumph over tragedy, they're going to have it again tonight to watch. So if you missed it, folks, I really recommend that you watch it on Sports Center. You will enjoy it.
You know, that Villanova score was 96-58. Unbelievable. Yeah. Creighton went in there, and they played in Wells Fargo Arena, in the Sixers arena, and boy, Creighton shot like an NBA team.
Sitting on a 10 right now. 50 seconds to go, and
there's that pressure now. You either got to steal it or foul right away.
And Ellis, I believe, was fouled right away. Ellis has 13 of his 15 points this half. The sophomore was so good for the Jayhawks in last year's Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. And he'll move up to the free throw line.
He's their second leading scorer, but he takes under 10 shots a game. If you're Scott Drew, you can build on this a little bit in terms of the intensity. The next 2 games are at home against Texas and West Virginia. And then they'll travel up to Stillwater.
Ellis with a pair of free throws here.
Speaking of those Wichita State guys, this is one that got away. Wichita Heights product. 4-time All-State.
Puts it on a 12. Kansas is 25 of 27 from the free throw line. Big difference here tonight, and a huge 3 from Royce O'Neal.
Scott Drew's going to use those timeouts, set up that pressure again.
So Baylor using its final timeout, and of course, Fran, as we've talked, next week we head to Bedlam. Go down, we see Coach Kruger and the Sooners. Looking forward to that matchup and I want to see Smart, who's just a fine basketball
It's
player.
the first time in a while in 5 or 6 years that both teams have been very good, both ranked right now. Oklahoma with a very young team. Oklahoma State with a relatively young team, but they've got Marcus Smart. Should be a great battle.
Well, if you take a look at the standings, and one of the surprise teams has been Oklahoma, 3-2 in the conference, tied right now with Oklahoma State. But how about Kansas State coming in here with Coach Weber, blown out by the Jayhawks, and then they've rebounded nicely, and they're 4-1.
And we're going to see them later in the year when the Jayhawks head out to the Octagon of Doom. We'll make our stop at Varsity Donuts again, and probably see a great atmosphere. And
Mitch Richmond.
Yep, I talked to Mitch at halftime. He said he did win in here, and they broke a 55-game Jayhawk home court winning streak, and he was extremely proud of that, I might add. And I think he caught a little razzing from some of the older Jayhawk fans that remember Mitch and that Lon Kruger team. Steve Henson, the point guard.
Well, Ellis is coming back up to the free throw line. 9-point difference right now. Baylor at the line, as we said, 25 of 27. And Baylor, so Kansas is 25-27, Baylor 9 of 20.
And that's something that the coaching staff at Baylor will lament. Baylor came in shooting about 67% tonight. Well, it's not a moral victory, Brent, but remember the last two Baylor games in here, they were blown out.
Wayne Selden checks in for Joel Embiid.
Makes it a 10. 37 seconds. Cherry guns a three. Wiggins loses a handle, diving on the floor. Heslop's got it, and it's a held ball. And that's Baylor has the possession arrow in their favor. They'll have the basketball here with 23 seconds to go. Kansas leading by 10.
You know, I use that boxing analogy. I used to use that with my team, and I think I would say this is probably a TKO in the 13th tonight. So Baylor has acquitted itself well in a place that few people come out with a win.
Austin corner rattles out. O'Neal backs out now. Here comes Heslop. Heslop back to the corner. O'Neal fires. No. Kansas basketball. 10 seconds to go, and that's going to do it. Drew calls it off. Fourth straight win against the top 25 team. Kansas wins it by 10 points. 78-68. Coming up next on ESPN SportsCenter, the big story, Villanova stunned tonight. And the Jayhawks are still unbeaten in the Big 12. So long from Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas.